again. We're going to be continuing our story about Abram today, and we're moving into Genesis 15. In Genesis 15, he had just gotten done with all of the battle that he had done and helping to save Lot. But then the Lord said, I'm going to give you a promise. And it wasn't just any kind of a promise. It's called a covenant. Now, a covenant is more than a promise, because a promise can be broken. It's more a contract, because a contract can be, you can be changed. A covenant is a permanent promise, a permanent contract, one that can't be undone. So if God makes a covenant with someone, it's forever. And that's what God did with Abram. And he said, I said, do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward. And he said, how can I continue to feel like you're blessing me when I haven't had any children? You tell me I'm going to be this great nation someday, but I haven't even had any children yet. And my wife is older. I don't see how this is going to work. And the Lord said to him, come with me outside. And he took him outside and he had him look up at the heavens. And he said, look up at the heavens and count the stars. If indeed you can count them. Then he said, so shall your offspring be. In other words, your children, you'll have so many children that you won't even be able to count them. There'll be such a big number of them. And it said that Abram believed the Lord, and he credited to him as righteousness. So even though he couldn't see what was going to happen, he believed that what the Lord said was going to happen. And then he said, but is there a way that I can have sort of a sign to let me know? And so he had him go into this deep sleep. And in this deep sleep, he says, he talked to him and said, Abram, know for certain that your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and that they will be enslaved and mistreated for 400 years. But I will punish the nation they serve as slaves, and afterwards they will come out with great possessions. You, however, will go to your fathers in peace and be buried at a good old age. In the fourth generation, your descendants will come back here. And when the sun had set and darkness had fallen, there was a smoking fire pit that was there, and there was this, God allowed Abram to do this sacrifice to him, so that it was like basically saying, I've got you handled. I've got it taken care of. Now, it was one of those things that when I said that his descendants were going to be enslaved for 400 years, that doesn't sound like a very good promise at all. But guys, that's an amazing thing, because if you have read through the Bible and know some of the Bible stories, you've heard the story of Moses and you've heard the story of the children of Israel in Egypt. That's what God was talking about. So hundreds of years before that happened, God let Abram know that he had everything all planned out, and that he had this way for them to be able to, one, you're going to start having kids, and two, when you have these children, they're going to become a great nation. And even though at times it's going to look hard and it's going to be difficult, it's going to work out well. And God sometimes wants us to remember that when things look darkest and most difficult, that we need to turn to him to be the light of our world. That we shouldn't be focusing on what's going on in the world. We need to be focusing on what's going on with him. So to help you remember that, I gave you some paper that you can write light of the world or light or anything that you want on it. And I gave you some stickers that are nice and shiny so that you can make yourself a light of the world poster to remind us that we need to keep our eyes focused not on the things that we could see. Abraham couldn't see about his children or his future generations, but he focused on God, and God said, I am the light of the world. I will give you what you need. Now, also, to help to remember the story part where he talked about they'd taken him outside and he could see the stars, I gave you, these are called Star Crunch cookies. And they're supposed to be sort of look like a planet or whatever up in the sky. But I also give them to just remember, because if you look at all those little pieces, remind us that sometimes we don't realize that God has it all arranged and all ready to go, because he is indeed the light of the world. And when we have the light of the world with us, we can reflect it to other people and help them know how amazing and wonderful and righteous God is.